Sometimes when we're waiting for uncertain news, we know the news is going to be bad. It's just a matter of how bad it'll be.
Bad news, everyone.
It's gonna make you literally run from bad news.
Well, bad news.
Welcome to the Bad News Tech Podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Pedro, here with the two greatest beards in tech, Christian, my boy Isaac. And before we begin, let's take a quick 10-second
Moment of silence.
moment of silence for the Patriots fans. All right, everybody.
Well, shout out to Junior.
All right, Patriots fans, I'm sorry. Peyton Manning did it to you. Lewis is a Peyton Manning hater. He's not here. He's also mourning the loss of the Patriots. We had a bet. He lost. If you look at his profile and picture now, it's going to have a Bronco on it. Sam, unfortunately, is slaving away at a big blue box near you. Hopefully, he will arrive.
Someday.
Eventually, he'll have a day off. And when he does, he'll be here, and I promise you. So let's go ahead and start with the news. This week was earnings week. It was the beginning of when big companies just let us know how they did for the last 3 months. We'll start off with one of the more interesting ones, which was Sony. Sony actually made $1 billion in profit over the last 3 months.
That's impressive.
Led by none other than the PlayStation 4. Now, everybody on Bad News Tech owns a Sony product. Lewis owns several Sony products because he is a 4K Sony TV fan. And we all know the benefits of having a PlayStation 4. We all know that they're winning the race. We don't need to cover that. The biggest reason why I wanted to speak about Sony's earnings is because they're losing market share in the mobile phone space. They're actually down 14% from last year's third quarter. And when I was thinking about it, it came to mind that the PlayStation 4 is essentially the gateway into Sony, into a person purchasing Sony products. What did you guys think?
I think that's what they would hope.
Okay.
I don't think that's what actually happens.
Now, why though? Because the PlayStation 4 gives everyone who speaks about the PlayStation 4, they speak very highly of it. They think it's a great product. It's a great machine. It gives everybody a premium experience.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that translate into someone purchasing maybe their next phone being a Sony phone, or their next TV being a 4K television, or their next digital camera being a Sony mirrorless camera?
Well, I don't think I'll say for phones. I could speak with phones. When's the last time you saw a commercial for a Sony Xperia?
Yeah, you're right.
I think the last commercials on TV was the Sony Ericsson Walkman.
Yeah.
From 2009 or something. They don't. I don't know if they don't care about the U.S., but they do not put the effort I think that they need to if they want to expand their mobile phone here.
Well, if you ask Sam, and he's been on record saying that, they care about Japan first and their homeland first before they bring things over to the United States.
Bro, on record?
He's been on record saying that. We've had heated arguments on record. So I think in this case he is right that they do care about maybe what we believe is abroad. But to them, we are the countries that, we may not get enough love over here. I know Europe does get a lot of the Xperia phone. They do get a lot of Xperia phones. We haven't gotten one that was that had a huge carrier push since the Z Compact?
Yeah.
And that was a couple years ago. Everyone seemed to love that phone if they like something
don't make
under
bad
4.
phones. They make really good phones.
They make great products.
Top-notch sensors. Their phones are great. They have a lot of waterproofing and everything else that they bring with their phones that some people don't. Screens are good. It just doesn't... I don't know if they don't translate. I don't think they just advertise enough. I don't think anyone knows when the next one's coming out versus something like the Samsung. You know when the next Samsung's coming out. There's $1 billion of advertisement. There's signs everywhere, commercials, and that's what sells. Also, with that, you're going to get people that are selling the product. They're not going to be as knowledgeable either, so they're not going to push your product.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Apple and Samsung take up most of the sales worldwide, that we don't see that many people buying Sony phones. So, I mean, when Apple phones come out, you don't see people lining up for Sony phones. You don't see people lining up for that sort of stuff like they do for Apple phones, or for I mean, they don't do it for Samsung either, at least not that I know of. But it's because Apple and Samsung kind of have a monopoly on that kind of an area that all the other phones don't really sell well. So
what would it take for one of you guys to purchase a Sony phone? I mean, we've reported earlier in the week that Sony is releasing their two Xperia phones here in the United States through Best Buy, Amazon, and Unlocked. They do cost much, much more than a Nexus 6P. So is it like what would it take for Sony? For you to purchase a Sony phone, is it going to be that the price has to be right? Does it have to be that it's a carrier-driven device?
If Sony made a Nexus, I would buy it instantly.
Yeah, if they have, I think like what Isaac's saying, stock Android is probably what he means. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be Nexus line for me, as long as it's stock Android and it has same-day updates when the new stock Android updates come out.
So like a Moto X.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
So I mean, I think if there can be more phones that do that, I think a lot more people or a lot more companies would sell more phones, because Android is fragmented with their updating scheme. So they have so many phones out there that are still on an older OS than what's currently available, and it's vastly older. It's very old, some of them. Yeah. So
the other thing is, even if they don't make a Nexus device, personally, I don't like the OS that they use, is the skin they use. Yeah. So that's part of the reason I would rather.
I've never seen the skin. I don't even know what it looks like.
I don't like it. I don't like the style of it. I feel about a lot of other skins. But I think we're in the minority. Nexus users are the minority. The 6P and the 5X has a lot more push now because there's commercials. They had even a Super Bowl commercial and everything like that. Yeah. So obviously they're selling more. But
couldn't we arguably say that the reason why the 6P and the 5X are so good is because it has Sony's image sensor in it?
Well, that's camera.
Yeah.
That's their camera. I'm not going to debate that. They make the best sensors out of anybody. I mean, every top flagship phone has a Sony sensor, and if it doesn't, it's failed. So HTC, they used a Toshiba sensor, garbage.
Yeah. So get that ultra pixel garbage out of here.
Whoa, wait! Don't hate on the ultra pixel. We'll talk about that later with the new one coming out. But it's not ultra pixels. When they went 21 megapixel, they try to do on the ACCM 9. They try to be a superhero with mad pixels, and it didn't work out. So, we talked about that before. More megapixels doesn't equal better quality. To finish up the Sony thing, they would have to make a better push, more advertisement, but then at the same time, more advertisement is more risk. Yeah. So you're going to be pushing millions of dollars to advertise, and you're not guaranteed anything because you haven't even succeeded in the past with the same product. Yeah. I know their cameras are also down. Also, the actual cameras,
like DSLRs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they are part of what looks to be the eventual death of the GoPro. Their action cam is tremendous.
Yeah.
They are pushing on that end. But to your point of better advertisement, let's bring it back around to having the PlayStation 4 as that gateway towards purchasing Sony products. Why shouldn't we see, or why can't we see a like a Sony ad push of the Sony family, just like you have the Samsung family of products. They've got televisions, they've got appliances, smartphones, tablets, computers. Is that what you want to see? You just want to see just a Sony Xperia, whatever ad, or do you? I mean, I think the smartest way about it would be to, revolve everything around the product that's selling right now, because people are just buying the PlayStation 4 because their friends have it, not because it's right now they're still getting beat on exclusive games. The content is not as good as a Nintendo or as Xbox One. People are purchasing it because third-party games look great.
Yeah.
And the promise that their first-party games are coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a head start.
And they got a head start.
Which
they didn't get the head start. They won the price war because they both came out at the same time, but they won the price war.
That's what I meant. I mean release head start. I meant they got the head start because of the price.
Yeah.
I think they got the head start because they came out with consoles back in the day, before Xbox was even a thing. But I mean, yeah, I would say most people that have a Sony product, one of them is definitely a PS4 or PlayStation device. So PS Vita, PS3, PS2, PS1. So
I don't think TVs. There's any knock against TVs that I've seen. A lot of people still like the TVs.
Well, I mean, the Sony television is arguably still the best 4K television.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
they get pretty good push there.
Yeah.
I think cameras, they actually saw increase in profit but decrease in sale.
Yeah.
So I think that's just for the fact that less people are buying cameras because of I believe camera phones are being so good lately that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you have a Nexus 6P that takes that does the job. And the problem is a lot of people aren't taking photographs and putting them in a photo book anymore. They're actually taking them and posting them on Instagram. So do you really want to spend $600 some on a camera that's only gonna be shown in a resolution that a Samsung Galaxy S3 can look at? It just doesn't make sense for you to spend that amount of money if you already have it on your phone.
Well, I think the people that buy it versus not is growing. It's getting more of a niche product.
Yeah.
We're always going to need photographers. We're always going to need
professional great
film
stuff,
crews and stuff like that. I mean, so it's always going to be needed. People are always going to have it as a hobby.
Yeah.
So it won't die per se ever, but I mean, yeah, you won't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in no means saying
most
it's
pictures
dead.
are used. It's going to be on social media.
The majority of people purchase smartphones and use that as their primary camera. It's just the unfortunate truth. Now, let's go ahead and move on to another company that has an opportunity, a glaring opportunity in this case, Microsoft. So Microsoft ended up with 6.3 in net income and 25.7 billion in revenue. They had generally a good year. The Surface Book, rave reviews, very well received. It's super expensive, so it's not very accessible to the general public.
Not like the older version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Surface Pro 4. Also another very well received product. Again, still in that non-accessible range. You could probably get one for around $800 starting, but that's like your base level.
With like an i3. Yeah.
That's you got to roll up the windows on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those. But their biggest issue right now is they're not selling phones. They're not selling Lumia phones. Last year they sold 10.5 million in the same quarter. This year they sold 4.5. That's a huge dip. Is Windows Phone dead? Is it in the area that BlackBerry was? As we know, BlackBerry decided to ditch their operating system and go Android to save their company. But is Windows Phone, will it ever gain traction? Will it ever be that third operating system that everybody, expects it to be?
I mean, I've never was a fan of Windows Phone. I mean, and I think a lot of people aren't, only because it's pretty much, it's not an Android or an iOS device. So, I mean, that, I don't see that there's much draw to switch to the minority, because there's no way that there's even anywhere close to as many users that have Windows phones that have Android and iOS. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure this isn't a problem now, but in the beginning, they had very little apps, so, I mean, the cool thing, I think, with those type of phones, though, is that it's all one OS. So, like, one OS for the phone, and for a computer, and for a tablet. I think that's a cool idea, but I guess it just never took off.
Well, I've used Windows Phone 7, 8, 8.1, 10, starting from the hacked HD2 that I had running Windows Phone 7, and I was a fan of it simply because I think it has a great keyboard, which is getting ported out now. But the keyboard is A1, super fluid, it doesn't crash. It's just really, really, it's like, I think it's even more, like when you get a stock Windows phone, it's, I think, smoother than any other OS, truthfully. And I love the other OSs also. The issue is apps, by far apps, because I don't think anyone cares what the other person has, unless they're iPhone users, because then they could FaceTime. But if Windows Phone had apps, it would be right there with them. Now, the issue is, if I'm a app developer, am I putting this much money to develop an app for something that has so low market share? And that's where you get the circle of, well, there's no apps because there's no market share, and then there's no market share because there's no apps. And that's never ending, and it hasn't broken out. Microsoft took out all the dev licensing fees. Microsoft paid a whole bunch of devs to make, apps. Nothing's worked. So, personally, yes, I think it is dead, unfortunately. Even though they do great things, it's never going to catch up just because of that. I was using a bootleg Instagram when it came out. You have a bootleg Snapchat. It doesn't have the banking apps. And you're sitting there like,
Yeah, when the major banks don't support your platform,
exactly,
you might as well just, might as well
all
call it
these
a loss.
conveniences that you have in a modern phone, you all of a sudden, you can't take a picture of a check and deposit. You can't do this. You can't do that. So
I got you.
That was my gripe with the actual phone.
Yeah.
Everything else I loved. But that their imaging is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's arguably the best camera. The Lumia camera is arguably the best camera out in right now in the smartphone arena, I would think.
Are you talking about the 41 megapixel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
beast.
I would assume that would be the number one out there at the moment.
Now, if they made a Lumina Android with the Pure View, I think I'd buy that.
Well, I mean,
I'd buy that way before Sony.
Yeah, but Google has to pay royalties to Microsoft anyway for its Android operating system. Why doesn't it just, in a way, lease or just allow Microsoft to have Android apps run on their system?
Well, that's another big one with the Windows Phone that I think it's dying. There's no Google ecosystem on there. No YouTube apps, no Gmail, no Google Maps.
On the Windows Phone?
You've got Bing. That's, you've
Yeah,
got Bing that everyone wants you to think is arguably better.
I could go to an iPhone and have the same quality experience with Google if I'm in the ecosystem, if I have a Gmail, if I want to use Google Maps, and it's not an issue. You have some forked apps that use Google Maps with Windows phones, but there's nothing official, and the only YouTube app that they made, Google blocked eventually. They said, get out of here with that nonsense, and then
because it wasn't theirs, probably.
There's something with the API, and then they just blocked everything.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's
they're in a little bit of dispute because why would Google do that? You're paying these people $1 billion for Android, and then they're gonna want to use your apps. And I wouldn't let them either.
So what about this rumored Surface phone that may be releasing next year? You think slapping a Surface name on the same operating system is going to help?
I think it could. People are familiar with the Surface, and it's a good product.
No.
I mean,
the user experience is still going to lack.
The only thing they have a chance with is maybe business. That's because they're really tight knit with Exchange.
Yeah.
And if they could come up with the security and get a market share in business and security, possibly I think they can make a dent in that. But I don't think most people will buy it just because they're going to look at it. They're like, oh my god, I can't get no apps. Oh my god, and no one has this phone.
I mean, BlackBerry, lived for years off of just business and making sure that they were the strongest. They had the best encryption. But I mean, I don't know. It's a tough road for Microsoft, considering that they're losing market share in the smartphone arena. They're losing in market share in the video game area, which earlier today looks like EA came out with an estimate of 19 million Xboxes sold.
compared
to Sony's 39 for the year. So
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Maybe the battle for temporary or timed exclusive, such as the Division beta, which we played, or Christian played. Maybe that's that may be a good idea, I guess. Especially since they announced that they are doing timed DLC as well. I don't know if that's going to push people to buy an Xbox over a PlayStation, but they're trying.
I think the days of timed exclusivity are over.
I don't
because
think
people bought PS4s before they cut a deal with the makers of Call of Duty for the exclusivity, because they just announced that in I forgot where, I think Gamescom, where they announced that PS4 was going to have the exclusivity of having the maps 2 weeks early or a week early before the Xbox. So
for PlayStation, you mean the Call of Duty exclusivity is 30 days.
Oh, okay, yeah. So 30 days. So that was something that was big in the days of the Xbox 360, and I think that's why a lot of people picked up Xboxes over the PS3.
For the record, Microsoft had a 90-day exclusivity, so they literally had 3 months to play those maps before PlayStation did last generation. This generation, PlayStation gets 1 month. So you didn't win, PlayStation fans. You didn't win.
Well, I think it all has to do with that first, coming out party. Both of them did, where Microsoft just botched everything, botched the price, botched the you can't buy it without Connect, and then they said that
it's horrible. It's
that whole first thing killed them.
Yeah,
that killed them. Sony came's like, we're not gonna put restriction on games like you all said. We're coming in at $100 cheaper, and we're gonna come with a more powerful device. Is what they said, and everyone ate it up. And then whoever bought that first, and then people are just buying because they want to play what their friends have, and it starts that snowball effect. Yeah. Just like the last gen. It's pretty much a damn mirror image of the last gen. Yeah. I don't think timed exclusivities, I don't even think exclusive games did it. I just think that because they had that head start, and you get people word of mouth, this is dope, buy it so we can play online.
Yeah.
That gets the ball rolling, and it's unstoppable at that point.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people, such as myself, that made the mistake of purchasing an Xbox One when everybody else said, you know what, PlayStation or Sony cares about gamers, so I'm going to purchase a PlayStation. And then you end up with the first year and a half playing by yourself instead of playing with your friends on PlayStation Network.
Sounds like a sad life.
It is. It's a very depressing life.
Sad life, man.
It's kind of like being a PC gamer and not having any friends.
Hey, I got friends. I got lots of them that play PC
and fans.
Yeah, you got fans too. Yeah. Oh man, but yeah. So I think that's a mistake that Microsoft made. I think that they are digging their way out of a huge hole. They probably will end up making it at the end, just like PlayStation did, where there were just so many Xbox 360s saturating the market that the next thing you had to buy was a PlayStation. The only thing I think that could stop them from digging themselves out of that hole is a Nintendo NX.
I mean, hopefully the NX is something that can compare.
Who's
to the
gonna
other
dig
consoles.
what out of the hole?
Microsoft, they're digging themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in earlier. They're in the process of doing so with what is going on currently by backwards compatibility, launching exclusive games. The NX is the only thing that's going to slow down their momentum.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like people are just going to say, okay, instead of buying an Xbox because I already have a PS4, I'm going to get an NX. Because Nintendo's offering a compelling, something compelling, a compelling product.
Well, Nintendo has a niche that they kind of reside in that helps them, even though their sales haven't been that great. When the Wii U came out, they have gotten better with the amiibos and some of the other games that are coming out or have came out. So, but I think that. They, like you said, Xbox will be hurt if the NX comes out and it's on the same level of a PS4 or an Xbox with all the things that they currently do now with the Wii U with
what
like
do you mean
backwards
the same level? Because I don't think it's
like
going to be on the same level in terms of graphically or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to have a PlayStation-esque box, but I'm thinking maybe experience-wise.
No, I think it's going to be because there's lots of rumors that say that the NX is supposed to be the console that's supposed to compete hardware-wise with the current gen consoles. So, and it would be surprising and a good idea now in their venture to go ahead and do that rather than be always this inferior device hardware-wise.
That's fun to play.
That has fun games and really, nostalgia games like Mario games, Zelda, all that sort of stuff, but with updated graphics.
Now,
like that.
I have 2 points to that. First off, with the Microsoft gaining momentum, they're gaining momentum now coming into this year when Sony is coming out with their best stuff.
So Sony's has
you said before that this is the year. If you're going to buy a PS4, this is the year to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that in itself will slow down their momentum because they're going to have momentum, and then Sony's going to come out with their heavy hitters. And
I think right now Sony. I mean, it's the same fight though. Sony stayed with the momentum regardless of Halo 5 coming out, Tomb Raider coming out, Forza, or in the Blind Forest. I mean, what did Sony have? Sony had what? Bloodborne? I mean, that was it. That was it. Bloodborne and Rocket League. That was absolutely it. And if you want to count the Uncharted, the Uncharted collection as an exclusive, then you can do that. But The Order was a flop. I mean the best,
they have Uncharted 4 though.
That's coming out this year though.
Yeah.
And we're comparing it to 2015, and when you think about it, Microsoft gave the players what they wanted, which was content, but people still bought the PlayStation, and they didn't buy the PlayStation to buy PlayStation games. They bought the PlayStation to get a Bungie game, that's playable on both consoles. And I know for a fact that that's true because I was one of them. I bought Destiny on the Xbox, maxed out my character, couldn't do anything else, and then bought a PlayStation, bought The Last of Us, finished that. Bought Killzone, finished that. Bought Infamous, finished that. Bought The Order, finished that. Played Destiny with him, had to re-buy a game I bought on the Xbox. So not only did I give that company $120 of my money, but then I had to put the time in.
If it's 50 cents an hour though. You gotta keep that mindset.
I'm not gonna pull out the Excel spreadsheets to see how much money I'm getting out of a game, unfortunately. But
PS4 for Destiny for PS4 does have exclusives too.
Yeah, and
they're minor though, but they're like an extra, like a gun you can't get on the Xbox, certain strikes and things like that. But I mean, regardless, I bought an Xbox because of exclusives. Because my rationale with my money was that I'm gonna get whatever games I can't buy cross-platform.
Yeah.
So whatever has the most cross-platform, non-cross-platform games, I'm gonna buy first.
Did you get your money's worth with purchasing an Xbox last year?
Well, I actually bought a Wii U first, and then granted, I'm a PC player, so I probably don't play it as much as I should. But if I was a console player, I could see myself playing Wii U more because they have the games that don't go over to the other consoles. Well, but as far as the Xbox, though, I bought that because that was the second runner-up as far as exclusives. Like, what was that game with the infected people and
Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah, that I bought that. Obviously, anticipation for Halo, so I picked that up eventually when it came out. And I don't remember the other game, but also they have a way better operating system on the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean,
the interface is just way better.
If you compare a user's experience, just user experience, just navigating through an operating system, Microsoft is going to win 9 times out of 10 because it's just more fluid. Their online is more stable. They've been doing it longer. Their chat is better. I mean, it's a better machine, in that aspect. But when you look at the game just doesn't look as good as the PlayStation 4, and that's what unfortunately that's what people bought the PS4 for. Because if the level, or if the playing field was level, I don't think Sony would be in this position.
I mean, also another thing is the benefit of having the Xbox that I had was the ability to play the beta for The Division a day early. I mean, I could probably have waited, but I mean, The Division is a game that I anticipated, that I was excited to play. I had been waiting a while to play it. So
how'd it run?
It ran pretty good on the Xbox. I've seen some other people stream it where the game would crash or lock up the Xbox. I mean, it's a beta, so that's understandable. Doesn't necessarily mean that Xbox is bad, or if PS4 is doing the same thing, that they're bad either. But the game looks nice. The way the game is made, it's the way that the textures look on the console makes it look really, really good. It's not like with The Witcher, like you could tell with the jaggedness if you play it on the console versus the PC.
It's got a very smooth look to it.
Yeah, so I would say I could probably withstand playing it on a console if I wanted to. So without, being like my eyes are going to bleed or whatever. So but
I mean, it's not that bad to play on a console.
So I mean, it's not bad. My only gripe is because
his eyes are gonna bleed on that. But his console choice, if he wasn't a PC gamer, would be a Wii U.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Case.
Well, because there's two different things. There's two different things with that, right?
Okay.
You play a game because it's beautiful, and the story's there, right? And then you play some games because the story's there, and you don't give a crap about the graphics. So I mean, obviously,
what game have you played on the Wii U that the story was there?
Pretty much any Zelda game, like the remake for the Wind Waker.
Okay.
It's pretty good. They're obviously going to come out with the new Zelda game, which I'm excited for. Yeah. They're doing another remake of another game, Twilight Princess, Zelda Twilight Princess. Yeah. So, I mean, Mario games pretty much have the same story, though. You gotta save the princess. Mario. So
I thought we were playing the Mario Brothers here, but apparently not.
It's the other one. It's his friend.
That's what they say in Staten Island, huh?
Yeah.
That's what the jerk offs say over there.
But yeah, like
hoagies.
But basically, there's games that I play for the look, like The Witcher. And then there's games that I play for the story. I mean, The Witcher had a great story too. So it was a combination of both worlds.
So let me ask you a question, and this is for both of you, because we have had a conversation in the past where you guys said that believe it was the golden age of gaming is in the past. Let me direct the question to you first. Since the golden age of gaming is in the past, and he and Christian has affectionately said that the Wii U has that nostalgia factor, and those types of games that you enjoy playing as a child. Why is it that you only own a PlayStation 4 and don't have a Wii U?
The reason I bought a PS4, there's two reasons. I had a PS1, PS2, PS3.
Oh.
Naturally, I'm going to get a PS4. Secondly, they had a $150 trade-in, and I had a gift card,
Okay.
so I ended up getting the PS4 for $50. If not, I'd probably be sitting here with a PS3
Yeah.
and an old gaming PC.
Yeah.
But
So that's a
Wii U,
$150 trade-in, by the way.
yeah, that was pretty good. The Wii U, I think, I don't know. It is cheaper, but am I gonna get it just for Smash? Probably play Mario. I wasn't. The last Zelda I really beat was Link to the Past.
Yeah.
I never played Ocarina of Time or the other ones.
I mean, their niche is party games. So
Yeah, and then
that's where
That's
it's at.
not. First off, they took too long for everything to come out. So they came out. No one even knew it was a new console. People thought it was like an add-on.
Or a tablet.
Yeah, no one knows what it was when it came out. That's horrible PR by them using the same name, I think. And they took too long to come out with Smash, which is what I'm scared of with the NX coming out. That they're gonna come out with these nice graphics or graphic capabilities, and they're not gonna have the games off jump. So I don't.
I mean, but the same could be said about current gen consoles now, though. So, I mean, when they first launched, they didn't have a big repertoire of games that were that innovative.
True, but when did Mario Kart come out? How long did you have to wait for that?
That was. Oh, well, you mean the first one or the one for the Wii U?
Wii U.
Oh, a while after it had came out.
That's what I'm saying. There's these. You buy a console for these specific games because everyone gets it for the same 10 games.
Yeah.
So, and they took so long for them to come out. They took super long with Smash. They took super long with Mario Kart.
Yeah.
They took super long with some other the Zelda game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're still
Star Fox
making
is
the
in
Yeah,
Zelda
they're still
game.
not even coming out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Fox.
I mean, I think
That's
the
one of
Zelda
reasons I
game.
also don't buy it either. I'll probably buy it when the next gen comes out.
I think the Zelda game is going to be the type of game that's going to transcend both beyond the Wii U and go into the next console. So, because it's
gonna be
taking so long.
that Last of Us like game.
Yeah.
That
So,
last Guardians of Us game.
so I mean, so it's things like
Still waiting for that.
there's things that Nintendo does that a lot of other companies should follow, or well, I mean, Xbox and PS4. They always had backwards compatibility with not just their games, but their controllers.
Okay.
Like you can play with a GameCube controller on the Wii U with certain games, like Smash Bros. So, there's things that they do that are always going to be something that they've always done, and that other consoles won't do, like things like that. That will help. But another thing I'd like to talk about is the new Hangouts update that just came out a few days ago. They've added, finally, thank you, Google, for finally bringing this out to us, but the ability to reply from the notification when you get a Hangouts notification.
Quick reply?
Yeah, so finally that came out, thankfully. I don't have to open the app because I'm a lazy American. So,
I have a question for y'all in regards to Google and their, I think, inability to know what the hell they want themselves.
yeah.
So we had, we had Hangouts, came out as like an IM alternative, and then around the Nexus 5, they integrated SMS, so you're supposed to use all this app for all this for one thing.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was good. I say it was.
I mean, I don't
was
understand.
alright.
I don't understand
It was like a 7.
I don't understand what some people like what kind of problems people were having with SMS, because I
had
used it since they like added the SMS feature, and I've never had a problem.
Here's what the issues. First off, they had Google Voice integrated, so they had a cluster. They didn't know where they were texting from, and it wasn't easy.
Okay, so with the number finding out where you were texting from,
because I text my brother and he's like, "Who this?" I'm like, "Yo, are you serious right now? Like, do I have to go fight you for some reason? Like, I love you."
Yeah, no, that finally when they added that feature, I think it really brought everything together, and then it did it really well.
MMS, a lot of people had issues with MMS across carriers. I had MMS issues at one time. It got fixed, but that's only because I was able to go clear cache, clear framework. But I think it got too muddled. And then, so they had all that. It was supposed to be this all-in-one to compete with iMessenger. So
yeah.
I think they wanted it, every Google phone's going to come up. It's going to have Hangouts. You're going to be able to have this full-featured IM across Android devices like iMessenger, seamless. Then the Nexus 6 came out. And what happened? They came out with a separate SMS app.
Yeah.
They kept SMS in Hangouts, so you have two SMS apps from the get. They also had two galleries from the get.
Yep.
I don't understand what they're doing with that. So now they're refining Hangouts. It still has SMS, still has Google Voice, but then they have a Messenger, which I think almost all of us, not all of us, I say a lot of people use it because it's great. Just a standalone Messenger app from Google.
It's robust.
Awesome.
It does what it needs to do.
Super smooth.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't used it. So.
Super smooth. You could actually search through all your text, which you can't do in Hangouts. I haven't had any issues. Bunch of cool features. Has GIFs. It has. It's great. And they're making that great.
Can you send voice notes? That's like one thing that's been missing.
You can send voice notes
from like Hangouts.
And something that a lot of iPhone people have is they'll send a video and it'll look like ass, right? You're sending a video over MMS, but you can send like a 40-second video from the app and it'll send it to them, even if it looks like crap, but you have that ability where other apps you can't do that. So you can do voice notes. That it has all these features which are not in Hangouts, but Hangouts still supports SMS. I don't think they know what they want in life.
Well, why do you guys want voice notes and to be able to send in a?
I mean, I don't care about it.
Text messaging app.
I mean, I don't care about it, but it was one thing that a lot of other messaging apps have that this has not had. Like WhatsApp has it. Okay. The BlackBerry messaging
BBM.
app, BBM had it.
No.
So it's just like it's not that I would use it.
Oh,
but if
you just want to have it because
everyone else is doing it and it's not this groundbreaking thing, what is the problem with adding it? Like what are you like breaking to try to add this feature? Like because that's like they're always with Hangouts.
Maybe
they're always behind on things. That's the only thing I don't like about Google is that with their features with certain things they're always behind.
There's
like
a couple
way
things.
behind.
Emojis.
Well, with the Messenger, yeah. Well, actually, no. It was like 2 weeks for Nexus users.
For now, yeah. For Nexus, yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
they have a lot of the features. That's one thing that they have. They've been pretty good with updating that. Voice notes. Maybe you have something quick to say. You don't have, they don't want to read it. They're in the car. You want to say, hey, pick up some milk, some juice, and a Kit Kat, and bring it home, and they can just hear it real quick. Or my daughter saying something funny, and she just wants to record it real quick. There's no real other way to do something like that. Maybe MMS, but and again, we use technology a lot different from the masses.
Yeah.
So someone like our girlfriends would probably use
voice notes.
Yeah, they'd probably use voice notes.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
we'll just look at it and be like, am I supposed to play this?
I got my period or whatever else they talk to each other about. And then,
random girl stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I got
whatever
you.
they talk about.
Now, speaking of Hangouts and the inability to not know, or for our inability to not know what Google wants, Hangouts is actually telling people to use the SMS app. So when you go and try to integrate SMS, it'll tell you try the SMS app. So they're actually,
phasing it out.
Yeah, they're actually phasing it out now. Which is
I wonder why they're doing that though. Like
because the SMS app is dope. I mean, that's
but is there anything that is just like,
So-
oh my god, I need to have it?
Have you ever spoken to some? Oh, no, you haven't. But for me, I like to separate my SMS from my instant messaging. I want to know, that someone's texting me from their phone as opposed to a device that has data in it. So, like for example, when I text my girl, she can, she'll text me on an SMS, and I know, okay, cool. So she's using SMS at this point, and then I'll hit her on Hangouts, and she'll text me back on SMS because she doesn't know the difference because you're just using one app, which is super confusing.
I don't think they made it robust enough, Chris. I think that's the.
It
I mean, I
doesn't
like Hangouts a
separate
lot. I
it
don't
doesn't
see
separate it.
like I've never had any of the problems that
But
you guys
you-
are saying.
But you can't answer.
You've at one point texted me from your Google Voice number. And I
Yeah.
was like, yo, who's this?
No, yeah. Because then I was like, how do these people not know who I am? But then every time I wanted to text somebody, I would have to go into the settings and set my default number instead of just it being my Hangouts. So, yes, that part was annoying, but that's the only real thing that I think that was a big problem. Because, like...
I mean, the bigger problem is you can use Hangouts on the desktop, but if you're using SMS to speak to me through Hangouts, right, you would think that would show up on the desktop. It doesn't.
Because it's
a
with the
message.
carrier.
Yeah. So,
But if you have a Google Voice number, it's different. It'll do that.
yeah, but not everyone has
Yeah,
Google Voice.
I mean, I can't
like,
even get
my girl doesn't have. She doesn't know what Google Voice is.
Yeah, but she doesn't need Google Voice in order to get a text from your Google Voice number. I text people from my Google Voice number all the time. That's what I call you guys on.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't use Google Voice, so if I want to speak to her on my desktop at work and she's texting me,
No, he's saying that if you're using Google
Yeah.
Voice and she's texting your Google Voice number, not your
Yeah.
personal,
it'll show up on
all
my
show
Hangouts.
up on the Hangouts.
Yeah,
Bro, come
and
on.
the history will stay there forever.
But that's kind of rough. A
Yeah.
lot of people right now can't get a Google Voice number just because
Yeah.
it's so. It's like rare candies in Pokemon. It's hard.
well,
to find.
I mean, yeah, that's
we
the
need
thing.
Masingo.
To get a number
We need
locally
Google to
here.
get Masingo slot number 6 and hit it with the 99.
No,
Also,
like to
also,
get a
Google
number
Voice doesn't exist anymore. It's Project Fi now.
to get a number from Google Voice, it's like pulling teeth. You have to, like, you put in an area code and it's like none are available.
Yeah, exactly.
But then like for some weird reason, I put in the name of a city and you go through 15 pages and you find that one number that has the area code you're looking for. So it's weird. I mean, when it first started, when it first came out,
It was easy.
I already reserved my
Yeah,
number. You know, even now that I have my own personal number in Google Voice because I have a work phone, I moved that number to another Gmail account so I don't lose it.
Yeah. But then you're telling people to use that. I just think it got confusing for users.
It's convoluted.
It is. And I don't think they were able to do what they wanted to do. And I was reading also that they ran into regulatory issues with the actual Hangouts being SMS, and carriers having an issue with that.
Yeah.
So carriers wanting their own, SMS like Verizon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that also kind of busted the balls to. I can't put it in better terms than that, but
No, I get it. I get that. I mean, and that's completely understandable because when Google starts doing it and they have their own quote unquote carrier, then you should have T-Mobile SMS. You should have AT&T. AT&T has their own though. AT&T messages like that exists.
It's
It
garbage.
sucks. It's garbage.
Verizon, I hate it. I have to go every phone I get for my job, disable it instantly because it's not only
Well, 'cause
there,
it's bloatware. That's
but
why.
it's also set as default. Also, so
Yeah.
Oh man.
yeah, Messenger Plus.
Horrible.
Horrible. And they have a Maps app too, which is charge you
Yeah.
daily to use.
I just wish we could live in a perfect world where our phones don't come with crap we don't need, like bloatware, and our computers come with crap we don't need.
Well,
That's why I never buy a laptop. Like, this is a work laptop. This is not mine. My desktop, I build desktops because I can build them the way that I want them, and then also the added benefit is I get to put a fresh OS on it with none of that Dell this, HP webcam
recovery,
stuff,
yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's like there's no need to have that stuff there.
You
When
know
the
that.
makers of the actual webcam or the makers of the actual mouse pad have drivers and software for it, you don't need to make your own just for the sake of slapping your name on it. So
if you want a computer with a clean OS, just buy it from the Microsoft store. They don't have any of that stuff.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
see, that makes sense though, because it's like Google selling their own phones. They're not
Yeah.
going to have other people's stuff on it.
Yeah.
Like even if the phone is made by Motorola or HTC, they're not going to put Motorola or HTC bloatware on it.
Yeah, the Google
So-
Play Edition phones and
So-
clean OSs. That'd be a perfect world, but I mean, one of the things that always made Google different was, customization and everything else, which I think ended up hurting them. And then now, it's kind of funny because to me, Google to get successful had to be more like Apple, and Apple to get more successful had to be like Google. So they kind of have to cross paths.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is Apple had the notification drawer that comes out from the top, and then now they're allowing customized keyboards. They're opening things up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're trying to be more like Google. And then now Google comes saying, all right, you have to have these apps on the phone if you want to be this. You have to do this, this, and this.
Follow this design language.
Google Wear.
Yeah.
No,
Android Wear.
Android Wear.
Yeah. Nobody can touch Android Wear.
Exactly.
It's got to be.
That's an iPhone-like.
Yeah.
I think they
idea.
did that because of the whole thing with the phones. They don't want the same situation with the phones having all these different skins, but with Android Wear devices.
What you also don't want is for like what's going on with Samsung, where you can use the Samsung Galaxy Gear S2 with a Note 5, an S6 or anything, or a phone such as those. But
Can you use it with anything other than Samsung? Or?
yeah, well now they're
you
opening
can.
up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're opening it up. But for a while, it used to just be a Samsung exclusive. Could you imagine getting an LG phone and having to buy the LG Urbane? Or getting a Huawei watch and having to buy a Huawei phone, like that's crazy.
I wouldn't be that bad because they made a Nexus, but yes, it is crazy.
The
it's
Huawei
wild.
stuff is nice though. So I mean, it's like if they told
No,
me
no.
I had to buy the watch, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, but then you got to buy the phone too, and it's like
I wouldn't have them swimming with the fishes there,
I mean, first of all, if I went to a store to go buy a Samsung, someone take me out in a straitjacket because it's not a Nexus. So
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I use a Note 4 only because I have to because of my job.
Okay.
But otherwise, it would be
Shout
a
out to his
Nexus.
job for providing him with
So-
a free Note 4 that he's complaining about right now, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, they wouldn't let me bring my own phone, so I was like, whatever, I'll just save the money. So, but I mean. I could understand why they do that from a business standpoint, though, at least for a little while until they changed. Because it's like, if you want to watch to work with your phone, you have to buy another one of our products, which means we're going to get money. So, it's stupid, but
The crazy thing about it is that leads all into the initial conversation. Is those are things that Samsung is doing to keep people within the Samsung ecosystem, and that's what Sony isn't doing. Is they're not keeping the people in that ecosystem.
well, didn't Sony try to do?
Sony tried to do that.
Yeah, they tried to do it with the PS4 and the TV, and they're doing it with the PS4 and the Vita,
Well, I was
or the
gonna-
PS3 and the Vita, like where you can play games from the Vita to the PS4, and then they had something where the
Xperia
PS4
phone,
would, yeah,
Xperia phones could do
PlayStation
remote,
phone,
remote play.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, just Sony Xperia phones, they could do it, which is cool because you could be
They had
on,
a PlayStation app
you know,
you
if
can
you
go
have to use the
They had what?
restroom for a long period of time for some reason,
Yeah.
you could, play your PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I think when I was saying Sony tried to do that is I think they tried to do that with the Vita, come out with them garbage memory cards that you had to buy, and that killed them at the beginning because
the proprietary memory.
proprietary everything.
Yeah,
That's
stupid.
We're off that,
Yeah.
that's horrible.
They used to work back in the day, but not,
Exactly.
Works for them.
I mean,
Works for Apple.
Apple's
but what do they
you
do
can't
that
do Apple.
with?
Apple's
with
a
Apple,
different
though?
beast.
Apple, you can put any hard drive into it, or you can put
Well-
other like SD cards into.
Yeah, but if you're talking
their
about the mobile
dongles and stuff.
devices, I mean,
Apple.
Well, mobile devices, they don't even have anything to put any extra
Apple now
storage
changed
on
that
it.
though with the USB Type C.
yeah,
You could use any
with
charger.
their new USB Type C, yeah, with their
so
new
that,
stuff.
So that went away.
Oh, you're talking about cables, like their
Yeah.
The
charge
actual
ports for
charging
their.
cable.
Okay, yeah.
He's talking about this is
Yeah.
you have to get a what is this? A ThinkPad a vinyl,
like a Lenovo exclusive.
Yeah.
charging cable. I think that's a little bit different.
Well, I mean, that's the
because-
same thing Sony does.
Because
Is
they're
you
all
gotta get their
sell.
Sony stuff.
Here's the issue: they all sell at the same price, so no one really cares what cable you have to get. The issue with the Vita I was talking about is they're selling like a little 16 card for like $100 and something.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
when the
that's
equivalent
Sony's
micro
name on
SD card was a couple bucks that anyone
Yeah.
could buy, and
They killed that,
That
though.
killed it. That was horrible. So they try to do that with that, and I think that killed them at the end.
I mean, but their games were just not that good, and they were very, very short.
I don't like
but the
companies
phone is
forcing
garbage,
ecosystems on you.
The phone was garbage. The Xperia phone was trash. At least in this case, you're getting an above average Android phone and a pretty decent watch
With who?
with Samsung.
Okay.
You're getting a trash a bargain bin smartphone that has PlayStation branding on it to work with your PlayStation 4. It doesn't, the execution's not there.
Yeah.
To me, that's not trying. You know what I mean? Like you're not
then
putting
you have
premium products out there.
You have to hope that whatever company you go with that's doing one thing, that you have to hope that the other product is good, because then you're screwed at the end. Is what.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's horrible.
That's when people.
That's not. I think that kills free market, and I think that kills a lot of things that people.
Well, luckily we live in a world where we don't have to worry about that.
Money talks.
We don't have to. You know what I mean? Unless you live in a world where Apple, runs your life, and then yes.
A lot of people live that one.
So. All right, guys. I think we're gonna stick a fork in this one.
Because it's done.
That was episode 3. Just a couple of things to look forward to. It is tax season. It is Super Bowl time. People want to purchase televisions. Look out for a buyer's guide on the website. We will probably be doing a special Bad News Tech discussion, around purchasing a television, do's and don'ts, and the difficulty of finding the one for you. So be on the lookout for that. Sam is still, in between working at the Big Blue Box, working on his first review, as well as some how-tos for Windows. Lewis is off crying about the Patriots and hoping that Peyton Manning loses in the Super Bowl next week. Not going to happen. Anything else from you guys?
After tax season, I might actually have the money to build my computer. So,
shout out to Uncle Sam for giving his money back.
So build guide will probably show up.
Yep.
Once when I get the money to buy everything and stuff like that. It'll be both recorded and written. So look out for that. I'm still deciding whether I want to go ahead and separate certain pieces of the build guide out into different videos or into different articles. But you will see that
you did
in
your
the
first
coming
stream.
weeks.
First stream yesterday.
Yep.
Plug your Twitch.
I streamed on twitch.tv/BadNewsTech. So spelt exactly like how we have it spelt everywhere else. So, but I did stream Division. It was a good game. We only had a few people show up. But there will be other times where we will stream AAA titles and some that aren't AAA, maybe some older games. We will post on our Facebook when that does happen, though.
Yep.
All right. That was it, guys. Till next time.
Deuces.